Go ahead and leave. My rich wife dare me, her voice sharp as glass. You won't survive a week without me. I didn't shout. I didn't even look back. I just took my jacket, left my keys on a marble counter, the same counter I'd installed, paid for, designed, and walked out of the house we'd built together. The house I had built, actually. Every wall, every beam, every corner knew my sweat and my hands. But she only knew how to decorate the part she wanted to be seen. Her name was Lillian. Beautiful, successful, untouchable. At least that's how she liked people to see her. Her father was a corporate giant, her boss at the same time. I was a man who came from nothing, the man who worked, saved, and dreamed too small for her world. At first, she loved that about me. You make me feel real, she'd say when we were first married, lying in bed with city lights crawling across her skin. But money changes everything. Or maybe power does. By the third year, I stopped being her husband and became her project, something to fix, upgrade, or quietly replace. When she told me to leave, it wasn't the first fight, but it was the last straw. So I left. No drama, no begging, just the silence of a man who's done being told he's not enough. That night, I slept in my truck. The seat was stiff, the air cold. But it was the first time in years I actually slept without feeling small. The next morning, I started work at a local construction site. The pay was decent, and the crew treated me like one of their own. Grease, sweat, real laughter, things I hadn't heard in that mansion for years. By noon, my phone was full of missed calls, all from Lillian. I ignored them. Then her boss, her father, called 10 times. I didn't answer. Finally, a message came through from one of her friends. Just 6 words. Lillian's in trouble. Call me back. My stomach turned. I called. The friend's voice shook. Her company, there's been an investigation. Her father's under arrest. And Lillian, she's being questioned. What? They found out about fake accounts, bribes. Everything's falling apart. David, she's been crying for you. I froze. Part of me wanted to laugh, cry, shout. Another part of me just sat there, hands gripping the steering wheel, as the world that had once been hers, ours, collapsed. I drove to the city, to the building where her father's company was headquartered, glass and steel and power. I saw reporters outside, cameras flashing like gunfire. They shouted names, questions, rumors. And there she was, Lillian, once perfect, now broken, her hair messy, her eyes red, her pride stripped bare. When she saw me across the street, she froze. For a moment, the noise disappeared. Just her and me, the 2 people who had built something beautiful and then destroyed it. She walked over slowly, heels clicking on the pavement. You came, she whispered. I shouldn't have, I said. She smiled weakly. You shouldn't have ever left either. I almost turned away then, but something in her voice, small, trembling, human, made me stay. What happened, Lillian? I asked. My father, she said softly. He used my name, my signature. I didn't know, or maybe I didn't want to know. He's gone, David. They took him this morning. She wiped her face, smearing makeup across her wrist. I thought I had everything. The house, the job, the life. But the only thing I had that was real was you. My throat tightened. I wanted to tell her it was too late. That love isn't something you rediscover after ruin. But the truth was, part of me still cared. I took her home that night. Not our home. That was sealed by investigators. But to a small apartment I'd rented. She sat on the old couch quietly, staring at her shaking hands. I used to look down on this, she said, voice barely above a whisper. A small place, simple furniture. I thought I deserved more. You did, I said quietly. You just didn't know what more really meant. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I treated you like you were less than me, but you were the only thing that ever made me feel safe. We sat there in silence, the hum of the refrigerator, the city sounds outside, the kind of stillness that feels heavier than words. Days passed. The investigation deepened. Her father was sentenced within weeks. His empire collapsed. Lillian had to sell everything, Cars, jewelry, the house. Reporters camped outside her door. The glamorous woman who once ruled her world was now an outcast in it. And me? I kept working. Quietly. Building. Fixing. Creating. Sometimes she'd visit me at the site, bringing sandwiches for the crew. The men would joke, call her the fancy lady who learned humility. She didn't mind. She'd smile and hand out food like she'd been doing it her whole life. One evening, as we sat watching the sunset from the unfinished rooftop, she said, "You were right to leave." I didn't leave to prove a point. I replied, "I left because I couldn't recognize us anymore." She nodded slowly. I'm starting to recognize myself again. The version before the money, before the pride. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. Months later, she found a modest job at a design firm. I saw her name on a project proposal once. No title, no influence, just effort. It made me smile. We can get back together. Some stories don't end in reunion. Some just end with peace. A year passed before she called me again. She'd moved to another city, living quietly, teaching design to underprivileged kids. They remind me of us, she said. Dreamers who don't have much, but still believe they can build something. Before hanging up, she said, "David, thank you for walking away when I needed to fall." I stood there for a long time after the call ended. The wind smelled like rain, like change. She had been right once. I didn't survive a week without her. I lived without her. There's a difference, because surviving is breathing through pain. Living is learning from it. And sometimes the greatest love stories aren't the ones that last. They're the ones that teach you how to start again.